3 o'clock on this Monday afternoon. Welcome aboard the Postgame Show. I guess this Arcade Fire Everything Now bump means it's like a tribute to Disco Day or something, even though this is not disco era music. But it harkens.
It's disco sounding.
It harkens back. There's no doubt. Alongside Elijah Campbell, Jay Phillips here. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. If you're a South Carolina football fan, you did. If you're a Georgia football fan, you did. If you're a Florida football fan, you did. If you're an LSU fan, you did not.
If you're an LSU fan, you probably channeled the energy of your wide receivers and were yelling at Brian Kelly.
How about that?
Things are going swimmingly.
Man, well, anyway, we'll talk about that. I'm excited. My Denver Broncos won yesterday. Bo Nix, again, king of the world. No question.
Slinging it around everywhere.
Lamar Jackson. Ha.
Potentially playoff back.
Josh Allen. Ha. Patrick Mahomes. Poof. None of that. Bo Nix. Bo Nix was killing it yesterday. But it was against the Falcons.
But you know what? It's a very good comparison between Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, and Nix.
He's right there.
In age.
Yes. And that they play in the AFC.
Yes.
But hey, a kid can dream. Or in this case, a 50-something-year-old can dream.
I was going to say, if you're referring, someone here has to be the kid in the equation because it's not Bo Nix.
No, or me. We'll talk about all those things for you, little hoops to get into as well. And briefly later on, some very good news for just not basketball fans, just people that like good television. There's some very good news on that front that we'll discuss. But we will spend the bulk of our time today talking about South Carolina's thrilling 34-30 victory over the Missouri Tigers on Saturday night. I won't say, well, I may. And through the course of the day, y'all can help me out here. I don't want to come out and say it was a coming out party for Lenora Sellers, but maybe it was. We've already seen some really good things from him, but it seemed to hit another level, if only because in the last few games where he's been playing really well, South Carolina has just been thoroughly dominating the opponent. The one exception, of course, was the game in Tuscaloosa where Lenore's played well, with a couple of exceptions, and those couple of exceptions ended up really feeding into the hands of Alabama. But arcing it over, had touch, the speed. We're looking at a kid growing up right before our very eyes in terms of what's being asked of him, how they're dialing up more for him to do. So y'all hit me up. Let us know today. Was that what you might consider the proverbial coming out party for Lenora Sellers? I can have my mind changed. I really can. But he's absolutely taking control of this team, and he's having fun doing it. And we knew all along this was the guy. We've known for a while around here this was the guy. When they got him to decommit in high school, you pretty much knew right then they're going to throw all their eggs in that quarterbacking basket ultimately, and they have, and it is paying massive dividends thus far. Speaking of throwing things, Missouri threw figurative curveballs at South Carolina. And through large portions of the game, South Carolina was swinging and missing at them. And we kind of, did somebody down here steal his girlfriend once? Did he want to work for Steve Spurrier or something a long time ago and he didn't get the chance? Like, I don't know. Or is it just a thing? Whatever. Saturday at Williams-Brice. Noel ran the football effectively. They schemed up their offense to run away, quite literally, from the strength of the South Carolina defense. And it worked. Now, there were times when Carolina answered, especially in the first half. I thought the end of second quarter sequence was absolutely brilliant. And it's something for years that I've complained about in terms of seeing South Carolina, especially in games when they're going to get the ball in the third quarter, have that opportunity to kind of double up. And this time around, at least at the end of the second quarter, they did their part. Now, they didn't take the opening drive of the third quarter and do anything with it, and that was unfortunate because even if you can get three there, it changes the dynamic of what's going on. But Missouri grew in confidence. They just kept rolling Brady Cook out. Listen, son, you stand back there, they're going to get you. The number one thing to do, get away from them. And they did it all night long, and it worked. They weren't tremendous with it, but it was effective. And that's all you're asking. All Eli Drinkwitz wanted was exactly what unfolded. Give my team a chance to win the football game in the last 2 minutes. And guess what? With 1:15 on the clock, they took the lead. And then once again, Lenoris took over. And then Rocket Sanders was, I mean, that final, obviously that final touchdown, if you're a Gamecock fan, how many times you watched it? 10, 20 times, 30? Just rewind. It was one of the best plays of the weekend. Old school, just, you're not going to tackle me. And I thought it was fantastic to watch. Nick Harbor, throughout the course of the game, is really coming into his own. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had calls about him, Elijah, and those questions are being answered. Not fully, not completely definitively yet, but they like what he's doing. He likes what he's doing. It's happening for Nick Harbor as well in terms of learning what they need to do. I like Shane's fourth down aggressiveness relative to his predecessor. I do. There are times when it bites you in the ass, and you got to be, but you can't find out if you don't do it. And, I don't know if he really wants any of those back Saturday night or not. He probably doesn't. You figure like Steve Spurrier used to. If I can't ask a bunch of 300-pound men to block for a 240-pound man and go 5 feet, what am I doing? And so you gotta do it, right? You gotta do it. But again, Rocket, fantastic when he needed to be. Not a great night for him. Again, Missouri defensively. Hey, they're gonna go for him. Let's not let it happen. And they did a nice job. I want to give a lot of credit to the Missouri Tigers for how they came in here and played. And if you didn't hear what I said to Terry just a minute ago, watching Josh Pate's program, and I'm sure others have said this, but in watching Josh's show yesterday, I agree with him in his assessment. Missouri played its best football game of the year, and they lost, but they did. I think they played their best football game of the year. And now, Mr. Campbell, huge opportunity awaits. You need to take care of business against Wofford. The computer says you have a 99% chance to win the game. Don't let the 1% bite you. I don't think it will. If you haven't heard yet, Carolina will go to Clemson, and that will be a noon kick on Thanksgiving Saturday. Clemson, like South Carolina, is done with their conference slate, so both teams in the clubhouse with their respective conference records, and you just wait for things to shake out. Clemson would be the losing team of a 3-game tiebreaker at 7-1 in ACC play. At this point, SMU is still undefeated in conference play, so they have an inside track, and Miami owns a tiebreaker over Clemson. So you have to wait and see at this point, but a chance to win 9 games in the regular season.
By putting the team on his back and winning a football game.
Yes.
I would say that's probably the same thing. And here's what makes me think that. If I would have woke you up Saturday morning, Jay Phillips, and I'll say, look, it's your boy, Elijah Campbell. You know my name, you know my face, but I'm from the future, buddy. I want to tell you right now, Brady Cook plays. South Carolina does not run the ball at all. They pick up 3 yards a carry for the entire game. Missouri outrushes them. Nate Noel rushes for 150 yards and a touchdown. Luther Burden scores in this game. The defense gives up 30 points.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
South Carolina lost.
I'll be like, all right, I'll talk to you in 48 hours. I disappear into the abyss. Yeah. And you watch that game and you see what happens. The non-common denominator here would have been Lenora Sellers winning them the football game. Right. All of those elements that I would have posed to you would absolutely, in any other game, result in a South Carolina loss, especially if the offense was playing like it was in September and in the Ole Miss game. Uh-huh. But they didn't, because Lenora Sellers decided to throw for 353 and 5 touchdowns. And also have, like you mentioned, that Johnny Walker play where he breaks off another sack, where any other quarterback who has Johnny Walker bearing down on his back is not just going down to the ground, but maybe going through the ground and seeing what the crust of the earth looks like, but not Lenora Sellers. He breaks out of that. He somehow finds Brady Hunt. Somehow. And that's one of Brady Hunt's, 2 or 3 catches of the
season? All season, yeah.
And then if you told me...
And Hunt's extra little bit of oomph first to get that first down.
And then, when was the last time we heard from Dalvin Campbell? It was when he was going for a pass and he runs into the hedges and ends up, unfortunately, getting hurt because that was a gnarly hit he took with those hedges. They're unforgiving. It takes hundreds and thousands of students running over them to defeat them.
Right.
But
there's also a big metal fence back there.
Yeah.
You just don't see it.
You don't see it. But he made the two biggest plays of the game that weren't scoring plays in terms of getting them into position to win the game and then get that go-ahead score to Michael Smith earlier. But Lenora Sellers has to find them. On the Josh Simon touchdown, they're running basically a read or an RPO, and you see Lenore's eyes in the backfield, in the defensive backfield, and he's watching all three linebackers cheat up a bit at the last second, pull that thing out, drop it over to Josh Simon. Every single play that he made in that game, really, with the exception of the fumble and the interception, which happened in back-to-back plays, he played a perfect game, and almost a beyond perfect game. And it's one of those things where you knew Lenore's was good and he was picking up steam, and this offense was starting to look really good, and they had a set identity, right? And that was centered around the run game. A lot of that was Lenora Sellers running the football. And Lenore's ran the ball all right. I mean, he ran 14 times for 45 yards, but he won you the game dropping back to pass and winning it through the air and using his athleticism to extend plays and make things happen out of nowhere when things aren't supposed to happen. This is not, I won't say maybe the Lenora Sellers breakout game in terms of getting him into the attention of the national college football landscape, but this is the game that Lenora Sellers proved to everybody that he can win you a football game when all other things aren't even, and plan A and plan B have both been discarded, and you have to go to one thing that matters most. That's your quarterback making plays to win the game, and he just did it.
Player making plays, man. Player making plays. And, this is often what it really does come down to in evenly matched contests. And again, I'll give Missouri full credit. You knew they would. You knew they'd come in here scheming it up the right way. You just knew they would. At 21-6, I asked people at halftime, how you feeling? I got a lot of step on their throat, and I thought you might have that little window. But when you didn't take advantage of it to start the third, you knew that would get Missouri going just a little bit. Now, who knew that it was going to unfold the way it did in their Oklahoma game with just a wild finish? Mm-hmm. But I think that made it that much more exciting. And, yes, I do think that might overtake the monsoon game, at least here in Columbia. I don't know that anything will ever top that one in Como with Connor to Ellington and then the missed kick. That might be the best one they've played, at least for Carolina fans. But it was fun to watch. Let's get you guys on the phones, on the text line, on Twitter, 803-404-6100 to call or to text. Lots to do on a Reaction Monday. Welcome back into the Postgame Show, Reaction Monday edition. South Carolina coming off a 34-30 win over Missouri, an absolute thriller. The final touchdown scored inside, 20 seconds left, 15 seconds left, I think?
15 ticks on the clock.
And then, be honest with yourselves, all of you. Brady Cook had the ball again in his arms, and Luther Bird had already done one big play. You were nervous because they had to score a touchdown. They had one timeout, I believe, which was burned. And then when he got sacked.
Yeah. So they had to burn it right there. And that's when I knew. I was like, I think you got it.
You think
you
so.
got it.
I think so. But I needed, that was one where I needed either the horn to go or in that case, the interception to seal the deal. Made it happen. 803-404-6100. Got a lot of you lined up and ready to go. Mary is going to start us off today. Hey, Mary.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. What a great day it is.
Yes.
That we won. Yes. I have 2 points. One is that I totally regret Saturday, my daughter was over here. She's 49 years old, and we were watching the game, and she was absolutely going crazy. I mean, you would think she was a little 12-year-old or something, but it was so brilliant. And I thought later that I wish I had captured that on video so I could replay it over and over again. But it was amazing. And then the other point is Rocket Sanders. He, of course, had a fabulous game. The first quarter, he hadn't warmed up yet, or I think the Missouri team had his number, and they just would not let him do his thing. But once Rocket Sanders got warmed up, he just plowed through. So I feel like they're almost my kids watching them grow up.
No, that's what it's been like, especially in this kind of a season, Mary. And thank you for the phone call, where you have watched them grow. Whether it's veteran guys like Rocket growing into his role at Carolina, Lenoris as a young player, Nick Harbor as a young player. We talked a lot about Josiah Thompson being asked to start as a true freshman at left tackle at this level. That's a big ask. He's done well. I know he's been banged up a little bit. Tree did well the other night, and we talk about his youth.
Tree gets an assist for that touchdown,
I think so.
I think he gets a little bit of an assist.
I think so.
Rocket might not have needed it, but you never know.
Hey, whatever it takes,
if you can guarantee the touchdown right there,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Big Tree made a big push.
Big Tree. Listen, Mary, you make the point. I talked a lot in my open about what Missouri did on offense to negate what South Carolina does well. Again, let me tip my cap. They know that Rocket Sanders has been absolutely terrifying to opposing defenses of late. And you listen, you can't. This is one of those situations. I think South Carolina is playing such good football right now and has so many different weapons in so many different areas that it will be hard for anybody to just completely shut it down. And they didn't shut Carolina down. But they found their ways to at least let's put it this way. And this is sort of a nutshell version, Elijah. See if you agree with me here. Okay. We're not going to let Rocket run. We're going to force the freshman quarterback to beat us. And he did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a pick your poison. They couldn't do both. And they did find their ways to make Lenoris at least work. I mean, the interception, like I said, Johnny Walker late should have had him, didn't. And that was such a difference-making play.
You could tell. I mean, they just wanted to make South Carolina have to beat them in a way South Carolina has not beaten anyone this year.
Right. And
proves that they could do it.
And they got it. They got it done. Rocket 19 carries for 53 yards. Obviously the big touchdown. Again, Lenoris 21 of 30, y'all. 353 yards, 5 touchdowns. Did have the pick. He has been named, has Lenoris, the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. So,
and what's the one thing that Carolina's done in the last 2 weeks? I say last 2 weeks. Vanderbilt and Texas A&M, those games that really pushed the offense from being like good at times to consistently good. That was power rushing. That's if there's 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2, you felt pretty good about them converting a lot of those. On Saturday, this is according to Stat Broadcast, on power rushing attempts, which they define as rushes with 2 or less to go that converted for a first down or touchdown, South Carolina was 0 for 7.
Ooh.
And that includes that 4th and 1, which I don't blame Shane for going for
Right.
it because of who you have,
Right.
how good you've been in power rushing situations, because they were automatic in power rushing situations against Vandy and A&M, and that's how they controlled the game. 0 for 7 in that regard. Missouri was not going to let you beat them the same way that they beat Vanderbilt and A&M. And to Mizzou's credit, that's really hard to do against good football teams. They succeeded in that. But this tells you that the South Carolina offense isn't just a power rushing offense, that they're a lot more well-rounded. And in a game like this, that it really started to show. That's a game that Lenore Sellers won you.
Let's get back on the phone lines. Lee is up next. Hey, Lee, good afternoon.
Hey, just a couple things. Rocket Sanders is probably the best pickup in the portal of any team in America. I think he's probably been the biggest difference maker, because then the last year our rushing was awful. So this year, a lot better. Number 2, I watched Lenore's play in high school here in Florence, at South Florence. My kids all went to South Florence, so what I saw in high school, I'm seeing now in college, and it's sometimes very hard for that to translate when you go to the next level. But he was a man amongst boys when he was playing here at South Florence High School. And the third point, and y'all may agree or disagree with this, and I've been catching some flack on it from some of my friends. The 4th down call, you had a guy to do-over. They didn't get it the first time. Then they had something where they had to do it again. Why not, if you didn't make it, why not punt it in that situation? When you didn't get it the first time, they know you're going to go for it, and they know what play you're going to run. I mean, if we would have lost that game, wouldn't the story be totally different? How Beamer would have been an idiot for going for it instead of the story we get today? Wouldn't that story be a whole lot
Potentially, man. And it's interesting because I didn't hear this during the game, but when I watched it again yesterday, and I forget at what point. But there was basically, I guess they had talked to Eli, and he even admitted, I guess, before the game, we're going to be in punt safe every time on 4th down, regardless of what formation they're in. So you raise a good question there. I don't know if I would go so far as to say it would have been the kind of hinge point of the entire ball game. Again, what happens beyond, if you take it all in a vacuum, then you can certainly make that case. But listen, I've had a couple of times this season where I've said, boy, I just punt and let that defense do what it does. But maybe they just felt like right there they had the opportunity. And look, you needed to go less than 5 feet.
The defense is great in sudden change, too. I mean, against Vanderbilt, you turn the ball over, and they turn around and turn the ball over again. You turn the ball over in the Missouri game, they turn around, get a sack on 3rd down, and made what was a makeable field goal, a really hard field goal to make, and they missed it. I mean, I understand what Lee's saying here, too, because the defense is really good. Like, that's Lee's 1,000% correct. But I think just from a counterpoint here is that you trust the defense so much that you can trust them to put out a fire if you need to, and you trust your offense at this point to pick up every power rushing attempt you have because you have been automatic doing that the last 2 games. So I think that was really the perspective they took when making those play decisions.
Yeah, Lee, thanks for the phone call, buddy, and I'll come back around to your Rocket point too. But one of the things I'll say in rolling those particular dice is talk about the 4th down tries.
I'm good, Keith.
Again, I think it instills a level of confidence in your team that you believe in them. We didn't see nearly as much of that when Will was calling play, or not calling plays, but at least coaching this team, and he had to make that final decision. I think Shane wants to instill a different level of confidence, and we've seen it bite him a couple of times, and you never know. It did work out this time, though. But again, would that have been the entire ball game? If not, I don't know. That was still early enough to where I say early enough. There was still enough time left. Let's put it that way, to where there's some other things could have happened. Excuse me. I want to discuss Lee's point about transfer of the year type talk.
It got me thinking.
We'll do that for you on the other side. More of your phone calls, too. 803-404-6100. This is the Postgame Show. All right, y'all, it's basically holiday season. Next week, we got massive football games on Thanksgiving Day. We got the big parade. We got the dog show. And then it'll be time to start streaming or watching all of your favorite holiday movies and shows. The kids will be going crazy for all the ones they like to watch. You got music playing all over the place. Time to do it all better than ever. And I didn't even mention, like playoff games and bowl games and championship games in college because, those are givens on a station like this one. Integrated Media is ready to make all of those things better than ever. And just like Santa, the guys at Integrated Media make house calls. They just don't come down the chimney. They'll knock on the door and say, hello, how are you? Upgrade your Wi-Fi capabilities for better gaming, better streaming. Maybe somebody's getting something cool this holiday season. You want it to work all the time. And, of course, you can do it outdoors as well with amazing outdoor home theater. Listen, just do it better. 803-948-8327. Brighten the holidays in the new year with Integrated Media.
Man rush for Sellers. Lofting one wide open. Nick Harbor. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Nick Harbor. 26 yards out. Let the big guy eat. The 6'5", 235-pound sophomore. was wide open. I think it was the move, Tommy, and not the speed. He just acted like he was going inside on the slant, went for the fade, then Sellers with great touch.
The touch was fantastic on that. And, yeah, he sold it just enough to where the safety bit inside and then, I got to go get – well, forget it. That's pretty much what that play was. But that was nice. That was nice. And, again, I'll say it, the touch. So many passes the other night where Lenoris was not just threading the needle but lofting it up on a pillow. You know, sometimes you got to do both and do it right. But the passing game – was absolutely fantastic. Welcome back in. Once again, Lenoris, 21 of 30, 353 yards through the air, 5 touchdowns, the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. I'll tell you what, let's get to Keith real quick so we don't have him. And then that opened up another line for us, 803-404-6100. And then we'll come back around to the question that Lee asked us a minute ago. But, hey, Keith, how are you? Happy Monday.
How's it going, guys?
Good, man.
Just want to say I do agree with Elijah when he said that Sellers put this team on his back this weekend. I think he did an amazing job on that. I have one question and one thing I want to shout out. One question that I have is, what is it going to take to keep Sellers at Carolina now that he's getting all the national attention, SEC Player of the Week, doing as good as he is and is growing as much? What is it going to take to keep him with us? And the only other thing I want to do, I've been trying to do this for a couple of days now, is congratulate my son's AU football team for making it to the playoffs. They made it to the first round, got kicked out in the first round, but it does say a lot when out of the 11 players on his team, 7 of them have never played football in their life. And I got a feeling I got a long way to go with that. I appreciate you taking my call.
Wait, hold on. What's your boy's name and what's the team name?
His name is Grayson, and he played for the Beyond Sports Lions down in Orangeburg.
All right. Well, congratulations to him, to them, and continued success. Just do me a favor, all right, Keith? Just don't be that dad that yells at the refs until they're like 14, okay?
Oh, no, we ain't doing all that.
No, congrats.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Buddy, thank you. Wow. So Keith and Lee have given us 2 very different thought exercises here.
Yeah.
Thank God we don't have to worry about the Rocket hanging around because he's going to the National Football League next year. Let's start with what it takes to keep. Look, I think Lenoris Sellers is very happy at South Carolina. There's already an NIL deal in place. Those numbers will increase, as you might expect, just taking over that room. That is there somebody like that coming in? That's a big ask. There's no question. So when I say I don't think it will take much, I don't mean to say, throw another $5,000 at him or something like that. It'll be bigger than that. But I don't think there's a whole lot of This is his team, and I think he understands. I think his relationship with Dow is very good. Clearly, there's a high level of confidence and trust between the two. It's coming along. The trajectory of the program is solid. There's a lot to like about what you're doing next year. And you got 3 games left. With a very slim, but outside, but maybe more. I doubt it. But at least 3. And quite honestly, I'm having Lenoris play maybe a half this weekend. As long as everything's going the way it should. But yeah, I don't think it'll take too much convincing. Let's put it that way. And do it the right way. Make sure that it's fair. And that'll be. I think they can take care of that one. Yeah, I'd be more concerned, and I say that. We've already seen some stories about how they're working on it. I'd be more concerned about losing Dylan Stewart than I would about losing Lenoris Sellers. But as long as you're fair in a market sense to those guys and the others, you should be fine.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the thing that I've thought about too. I was just taking some calls, so if you address this, my apologies. But the exciting thing for Gamecock fans, yes, you're losing a lot defensively outside of, the seniors, because I think Nick Emmendwary's the number 2 safety in the NFL draft upcoming, according to Mel Kiper Jr. I think he might want to, behoove him to take that opportunity.
If I were him, I'd be, peace out.
A lot of other players are in a similar boat, but if you're bringing in teams year in, year out, what the 2 most important positions on the field, quarterback, edge rusher.
Right.
I feel pretty confident. Quarterback, edge rusher. If you have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, you're going to be one of the best teams in the country. If you have one of the best edge rushers in the country, you have one of the best defenses in the country. If you can secure Sellers and Stewart for at least up to these next 2 years until they're eligible to leave and go to the next level, then you feel really good about what this coaching staff can do in terms of replenishing the position players around them.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what happened this offseason. They were so active in the transfer portal. This is what you want out of a program, right? One that recruits really good players at a high level. And it looks pretty good now that the landing of Sellers and Stewart back-to-back years has set you up pretty good this season and for the future, but while also bringing in some impact transfers who can play right away. Guys like Rocket Sanders, guys like Kyle Kennard, who can help those younger players too, make you really competitive right now, that you don't have to have a year where you have to completely build. I mean, we're looking at a potential 9-3 season here if you beat Clemson and take care of business against Wofford, and it's becoming really special with a chance to win a 10th game, probably in the state of Florida somewhere, but being able to secure a quarterback that you feel confident in your future in and an edge rusher who's one of the best in the country is already a fantastic starting point for years beyond this one.
Yeah, agreed. As for whether or not Rocket Sanders is the most impactful transfer in the country, it puts us on the spot. Lee asked us that in the last segment. I say it puts us on the spot. I don't mean I have no idea. It's certainly going to be one of them. I mean, I'd have to probably go do some digging, and I can't really answer that in terms of I'm trying to think of one that just leaps off the page at me from a transfer standpoint. But it doesn't mean that person's not out there. I mean, Diego Pavia really comes to mind first and foremost as someone who has probably been that much more impactful in terms of relative expectation and then result. Again, I don't know how to use strength of record, but I do know what wins above replacement does. And so if I'm taking the average Vanderbilt quarterback through the years and I'm replacing him with Diego Pavia, then his WAR is +3 in terms of games won.
Right.
And they're going to a bowl no matter what. Dylan Gabriel,
Heisman finalist potentially. In the country.
But Raheem Sanders is
Cam Ward.
Yeah, Cam Ward.
Even Princely Umanmielen from Ole Miss. I mean, that's the difference between Ole Miss being a 10-2 team last year to
that's fair.
Being a team that competes with Georgia. That's fair. That defensive line. But really, in terms of running backs, there's not a more impactful running back transfer.
Yeah, we just named three.
I feel really good about that.
Right, we just named 3 quarterbacks and an edge rusher. So, yeah. But he's amongst them, Lee. There's no question about that. More of your phone calls on the Postgame Show. Tell you about our good friends, Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the Men's Clinic. Guys, you're not feeling the way you want to, the way you used to, the way you think you should. Well, as we get older, those changes are going to come around no matter what, all right? Time will not heal them as it is. Instead, go see Dan. You get a one-on-one consultation about how to get back to feeling the way you want to. No magic pills, all right? No athlete endorsements that give you a wink on the golf course there. That's not what it's all about, all right? Instead, you get real medical professionals that are dedicated to this. Is what they do. They help guys get back to feeling the way they want to. A lot of things could be going on. Check them out. Call them up, 803-875-MENS. That's the way to get a consultation. Learn more, themensclinicsc.com. Dan Balknight and his team at the Men's Clinic, ready to help you. Welcome back into the Postgame Show. Jay and Elijah with you. Let's get into some more phone calls. Reacting to Carolina's 34-30 win over Missouri. Gamecocks finish the regular season at 5-3 in conference play. Tony is up next. Hey, Tony, how are you?
Pretty good. Just wanted to comment about Linares possibly leaving. I think one thing that people are forgetting that his younger brother, Jaden Sellers, is committed to South Carolina. And they have a really special connection because in the state championship game year before last, Linares threw a couple of touchdown passes to his brother. And, his parents definitely like him being close, and as well as him coming back to Florence quite often. So I think just, the family connections there are going to play a big role with his brother coming in next year. And certainly Carolina needing receivers, that's going to be a tremendous help as well.
Yeah, I agree. And if you just tuned in, thank you for the phone call, Tony. If you just tuned in, we had a caller earlier just ask what's it going to take to keep Linares. I'll be careful with the wording. I don't know that there's any, I suppose, again, semantics is what we're talking about here. I don't know that the suggestion was, Linares is going to leave, don't you? I don't think it was that. It's just, but we're watching the evolution of the sport. If everything goes down the way we expect it to in the coming months with the finalization of the House settlement and the other settlements in that case with Judge Wilkin out in California, then starting next school year, schools will be setting aside a significant amount of money to go straight to athletes, which is, in my opinion, long overdue. I know some of you still do not like it and do not want it, but it is going to happen. But the question was, what do you do to keep Linares? You make sure Linares is taken care of with a fair market value. That's what you do. That's how you make sure. Just be fair.
Oh yeah,
right.
Be fair and make sure that he is well rewarded for his efforts.
I would, I remember, I told this story before. I remember when little kid brought a bunch of Deuce Staley signed football cards to Deuce to, apologize for trying to get so many of his autographs at a media days thing one time. So in the same vein, if you want to, just get Linares a whole mess, Elijah, of 8x10 Bill Gunner glossies that he could sell on eBay. I mean, come on.
That's how we should make extra money.
Well, I don't know if we can because we work here. People will be like, "Oh, you got an inside track," but I'm just saying, that's just one
selling Bill Gunner signed photos.
Just, Bill Gunner merch.
A Bill Gunner calendar.
Yeah. Ooh. Actually, yeah.
That's 12 different signed Bill Gunner photos you can have, and you can admire one for each month of the year.
I'm not sure I wanted to go down that rabbit hole, man.
Well, you did go down that rabbit hole. I just took you further into it.
It's scary. Nah, I got a lot of confidence in that one. And Linares hanging around for a while.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah. Let's see, where are we going here? All right, I got Gamecock Larry, and then I got another Larry. All right, so Gamecock Larry, not you. When I say Larry, it's another Larry that's ready to go. Hey, Larry.
Is this Gamecock Larry or
no?
Larry,
It's
Larry?
you. It's you, Larry. Yeah, we'll get to Gamecock Larry in a minute because he's going to need some time. I'm sure.
So. I've heard that gentleman a lot. He's very, very entertaining, and he always has a nice perspective.
He does.
Hey, real quickly, just 2 points, and then I'll let you guys ramble on or do your thing. One, it was very inspiring for the players Saturday night for the coach to go on fourth down several times. And it not only is it inspiring for them, it also sent a message to Missouri. Hey, you've had our number for a while. We're about to shove it down your throat. And now, secondly, as far as keeping Lenora Sellers, we got the NIL thing coming up, and for a while I was kind of torn on it. It's like, okay, all right, yeah, you know what? The players do deserve revenue sharing. They put a lot of money on the board. Now, that being said, now, to keep him, to keep Mr. Sellers, here's what I would do if I was a wealthy donor to the university. I would go out and buy him a Ferrari 280 GTO. Cost you about $220,000. Okay? Now, it's on a lease-own agreement. If he stays for his full commitment at Carolina, at the end of it, pay the car off. It's his, brand new. Yeah. Okay? If he doesn't, well, then you just turn the car in. Huh. That's how you keep them.
That's certainly, one of the ways, man. No question. Or maybe thank you for the phone call, Larry. For the vehicle of choice, maybe. I don't know. I'd be working a car angle for sure, like Spencer Rattler did.
I think he already has one.
Well, then you have two,
or three. Why stop at one? You can get more.
I don't know. Yeah, listen, there are certainly ways. Again, do you need creativity or do you just need a good old-fashioned, sit down and here's, what are y'all thinking? Here's what we're thinking. And you find out if those numbers meet in the middle. Right?
Could do it. It can be done. And you have a lot of good angles. I think he wants to be here. I think it's going to be difficult, obviously. The call Tony made, I thought was pretty good. I think he wants to play pitch and catch with his brother here for a few years, too.
Yeah. Well, and what...
They made some sweet music at South Florence together.
What, right now, again, is he in the Nico Iamaleava range? DJ Lagway? Guys like that, what Carson Beck is making. I mean, Lenoris is going to play in that neighborhood, man.
He's about to.
Yeah.
Over the last 3 weeks, he's definitely shown that he is getting into that neighborhood.
And he deserves that kind of thing. 803-404-6100. Got a lot more phone calls to get to, more sound from Coach Beamer as well. It's Reaction Monday Postgame Show. Tell you about our good friends at Minuteman Press. They are quite literally a block away from us here on Gervais Street in downtown Columbia in the old Apex Graphics building right across from WIS. And again, just a block to the east from where we are right now. Apex did printing for many, many years. They did it just fine. Minuteman is doing that too, but so much more than printing when it comes to promoting and growing your business wherever you might be across the Midlands and beyond. In fact, they have more than 300,000 items that can have your company's logo put on it to make sure that folks know exactly who you are and what you do. Brand new business? How about signage and banners to make sure people know you're up and running? How about logoed items, hats, shirts, jackets, etc. for your employees to wear at work, out and about in the community? They got free pickup and delivery. They're locally owned. Ken and Anna Holloway both graduated from USC. They just want to help you grow your business. Check them out online. Learn more. Minuteman.com.
Sanders is in to the left of Sellers. They'll fake it to him. Dump play over the middle. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Josh Simon, his 6th on the year. What a gorgeous play from Carolina.
A lot of nice plays on Saturday night as South Carolina comes from behind despite being up big at halftime. Had to do it the old-fashioned way, but they got it done. 34-30 victors. Josh Simon just continues to – man, he's had a heck of a year.
Real revelation. We looked at having 353 passing yards in a game like this. I don't think you get to a game like this through the air if you don't have the consistency of a Josh Simon keeping the passing game afloat for the entirety of the season.
Right. He's
being
been
the most reliable target.
He's been tremendous. He's done, right?
He's done after this.
Can you know anybody that like fudges records and says, "Oh no, he's got another year of eligibility left"?
Well, there's nothing a $20 bill can't fix.
Okay,
I've seen the bench warmers.
Hey, there you go.
Just go to the NCAA office with a piece of paper and a green crayon that says, "I have 1 year of eligibility," and slide a nice crisp 20 in there. Yeah. Nice little Andrew Jackson. Yeah. They open it up and they say, "All right, he's got documentation."
Look at that. Make it happen.
Perfect.
Good stuff. We had a good first hour, lots of phone calls. Get back into more of y'all's calls here in just a little bit. Again, the Gamecocks 34-30 winners. Georgia beating Tennessee. Florida, I'm air quoting for those who can see me, upset LSU, but I don't think it's like the upset kind of line thing as much as it like upset LSU.
There were a lot of upset faces on that sideline.
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, from a betting perspective, it was an upset. I don't really know that it was. We talked about it Friday, and I think that was my game on the showdown. And I liked Florida, man. Here's why. There's something. I'm going to borrow from my good friend Bill Shakespeare, the guy that wrote plays. Something is rotten. Something is rotten in the state of Louisiana, and it seems to be the relationship between Brian Kelly and his players.
Yeah, especially his wide receivers.
Yeah, something's off. Something's off, and it showed the other night. And Florida has been trending up. They really have,
with the exception of the Texas game, which of course Lagway didn't play the entire time, and I think maybe they were probably defeated going into that game, knowing he wasn't going to play. And
so now we have a little chaos, and we'll come back around to that for you in just a little bit. We got a lot more to get to from the Gamecocks. But without further ado, I know at the beginning of the season that he told us 12-0 was a distinct possibility. Then a couple of things get in the way, but I want to hear what the one, the only, the sage that is Gamecock Larry has to tell us about where things are. Hello, Larry. And by the way, sir, in all seriousness, to you, a belated happy Veterans Day. We thought about you and mentioned you last week. Hope you're doing well. What you got for us?
Well, I'm taking it one day at a time. Everything will be all right. But let me tell you, I've seen a lot of football. Gamecock football. I remember the Brandon Bennett over the pile and broke our heart. I remember that. But I'm going to tell you, Saturday, when old Burton caught that touchdown pass, I laid back in my recliner, and I said, now we're going to show them what a real Gamecock is. I wasn't worried. I didn't get excited. And only had a minute and something to go, and I'll be John Brown if the Norris didn't take us down there. And boy, when he shoveled that, the Rocket was determined. The Rocket was not going to be stopped. And when that Luther Burton danced, when he made a touchdown, danced when he went to the sideline, but that thing ended like I don't know what. Man, I enjoyed the look on old Drinkwitz's face. I enjoyed the look on the Missouri Tigers' face. But let me tell you, and also, I'm glad the Dogs beat Tennessee. I'm glad Florida beat LSU. And I told you we was going to go. I said the worst we'll do is 9-3. After I went down from 12-0, 11-1, 10-2, but we really should be 8-3 now. No, 8. What was 8-2?
Yeah,
we should be 8-2 now. The referees took the LSU game away from us, and we gave the game away to Alabama. So I'm saying we lost at least 2 games, and it does me so good to see O'Brien Kelly and the LSU Tigers lose. And I'm going to tell you, we got one coach down, one coach to go. Dabo, look out. We coming for you. Go Gamecocks. I love all y'all. And J.R. appreciate you taking my call. And I love 107.5 and everything. Yo, help me in my old days. But go Gamecocks. Love all y'all. Have a good day.
All right, Larry, right back at you, buddy. We love you too. And again, a belated happy Veterans Day to our man, Gamecock Larry. Yeah, listen, you know, I'm always not just about this season and this team. I'm the sports fan. I try, like all of us, not to get too caught up in the if that didn't happen, then everything, because again, it can't happen in a vacuum. I will admit, even though he's younger than me, that my good friend Michael Haney really helped me with that, like as like sports therapy through the years, because I would be guilty of that. Like, man, if that one thing, then they just, and he's like, well, yeah, but then it changes what the opponent's going to do, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he's right.
Butterfly effect.
He's right.
It's very real.
He is. He's right. But South Carolina, as many pundits have said over the last couple of weeks / month, yeah, you when you lost those two games by a combined 5 points, you'd like to have a little bit of that back, because you know you were there. You know you were in it. You know you were playing well. And again, I've even lamented, and Elijah, you know where I'm going. If you didn't take yourself out of the game in the first 3-4 minutes of the Ole Miss game, maybe they still kick your butt. I don't know. But I'd like to have seen Carolina play that game with a loaded deck, and they didn't get that chance, regardless. Yeah, Larry, listen, take care of business Saturday, as you should. If you haven't heard, once again, let us remind you, Carolina-Clemson will kick at noon from Death Valley on Thanksgiving Saturday, so make your plans accordingly. There's no line on that game yet. Obviously, those will come out Sunday afternoon sometime, but the computers now give Carolina a 42% chance to win that game, whereas about a month or so ago, it was more like a 20% chance. Again, take it as you will. Not here to say. So, hey, all good. I will tell you this. 2 years ago in Death Valley, the percentage chance for Carolina to win that game was significantly lower than it is this week or next week.
Oh, God, yes.
So, there's a chance. There's a very good chance.
There's a very good chance.
Watching how Clemson played the other day, and listen, Clemson will be geared up for that one, and Clemson will still be alive in a playoff discussion. So it becomes must win for both. And again, for Carolina, as we said many times last week, especially, y'all, while the chance is very slim, there is a chance. If there are further chaotic scenarios that unfold in the next 2 to 3 weeks, there's the belief right now that South Carolina is the best 3-loss team in America. Now, what does that do for you? Not very much.
We're not going to hang a banner for it.
No, but it's a thing to give people something to think about. And that's what, you ask for that. So like you say, don't give them bad stuff to think about, but do give them good stuff to think about. And if you find a way, and don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, you could at least, you're getting talked about in that room. Probably not in a way that's going to be like, yeah, cool. But again.
But did you think they'd be in that discussion at the beginning of the year? No one did.
No. So there's a chance. There's a chance. But when it comes to, just getting up there, I like what Carolina can do defensively against Clemson. I think Clemson's defense is very good, and I think that game the other night, if I'm the Clemson coaching staff, I'm looking at that. Can we have Cade roll out the way Brady Cook did? Is Maffa going to be a guy that can do what Noel did? Yeah, and what does Carolina do to sort of readjust in the coming weeks? What do they look at? Because they were to beat. Again, we got to give full credit to Missouri. They had a terrific game plan, and they executed. By and large, they executed.
They looked significantly better in that loss than they did in most of their wins.
Amen. Again, Josh Pate. I keep coming back to Josh, but Josh's show yesterday, if you don't watch that, Josh, CBS Sports, but he does his YouTube show 3 times a week. It's really good. He said, in his opinion, that was absolutely Missouri's best game of the year, and they lost. That tells you something.
Tells you a lot.
And
you took that punch and still won.
Yeah. So, good for the Gamecocks. Back on the phones, we go. You mean to hit a break? I got time? I got time? Okay, good. All right. Rich is up next. Hey, Rich, good afternoon.
Hey, guys.
Hey, man.
How are y'all?
Good. Hope you are.
Hey, you got the best talk show in the world, so put it down, number one.
Well, we appreciate
I am recording that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really do. You got a lot of passion, integrity, and character.
Thank you.
Hey, look, part of our winning success at the University of South Carolina is that band sitting over there in them East floor stands. But question to you, isn't the University of South Carolina marching band going to be in the Thanksgiving Macy's parade next week?
They are.
Are they going to get back in time for Clemson? They'll be tired.
Yeah, I would imagine they will. I don't know if they take. Well, I guess they do take the full band to Clemson, don't they? Typically, yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I suppose you get up to New York like probably Tuesday or something, and you do your thing in the parade, and maybe they get them back and fly them. I don't know if they fly them back to Columbia and then bus up Friday, but I imagine, yes, they will be tired. But you know what? That's a good tired.
Hey, but you know what? If the University of South Carolina needs some money from me to put them on a plane, I'd do it. Let's get them back because we need them up at Death Valley to blow their band away and our football team to blow them away.
Well, there you go.
Give them a double win.
Yeah, I do think. Honestly, I tell you what, Rich. I know they were raising money. I imagine there is still an opportunity, even if everything's kind of squared away in terms of getting them to New York and back. That they would be happy, and I'm dead serious about this. They'd be happy to take your donation. But yes, they are. The Mighty Sound of the Southeast will be part of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade next Thursday, which is very cool.
That is a good tired, as you said, Jay Phillips. That's a good tired. That's an incredible 48-hour stretch.
Yeah, I've been telling my family, and my girls are older now. We because of what I do, it was always hard to travel that week, and Rich just kind of pointed out for me as to why it was. Especially that particular game. So we never could really book like a trip for New York for Thanksgiving. But I really want to go to that parade one day, man. I love that parade. I don't care how old I am. I really do want to go do that one day.
Always a staple in the Phillips household.
Oh, man. And here's the thing. I'm probably the guy who's still like the biggest kid about it. But I freely admit that. Same way I am with like going to Disney World, man. My kids love Disney World, but I think they would all admit, like, hey, of the six of you, including my wife, who's the biggest fan of Disney World? It would be a 5. I can't vote for myself, but it would be 5-0, and it would all be Dad. So I'm good with that. But one day, it won't be this year, and I guess it won't be next year. I tell you what,
one day,
2 years from now, Elijah. All right, I want you to go ahead and plan this out.
All right,
2 years from now, you're going to be doing Clemson Week by yourself, and I'll try to go to New York.
All right. I got 2 years to prepare.
Yeah. So line up a guest.
Ample time. I'll set the lineup now.
Thanks. Rich, appreciate it. And congrats to those kids. Yeah. Lots more to do on the postgame show.
Josh Simon comes in motion now, second down and 10. Blitz again, screenplay, left side, got it, over to the left side. Is Dale Von Campbell at the 20, 15, 10, are you kidding me? Touchdown, Carolina, touchdown, Jared Brown, the redshirt junior from Lilburn, Georgia. His first touchdown of the year. It's good from 38 yards out.
For Sean Lee with a nice block on that one. Jared into the end zone with a little extra when he got that one.
He was hyped about that one.
Yeah.
Place got loud then. It got real loud.
Well, and that comes back around, as we said. That was just such fantastic end-of-quarter management for South Carolina, because those two touchdowns came each within 2 minutes of the end of the half. And like I say, I had wanted Carolina to take advantage not only of that, but to go into the third quarter and find a way, even to get 3 to open the quarter, and just really kind of bookend that kind of scenario. Didn't quite happen for him, obviously. Only one score, I guess, in the third quarter, and that was Missouri. But still, relative to some of the things we've seen, just in terms of program growth, we've seen a lot of bad end of second quarter opportunities. I thought that one was really good. So, but happy for Jared. Good stuff there. I was just asking Elijah, like, how far did he run on that? It was a 38-yard total play, and I couldn't quite remember, like, where exactly he had caught that ball.
Pass probably went a yard or two down the field.
Okay.
I mean, it was a screen.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, he made it, and then he just. I mean, he really. Again, he got the one block, but then he just burst through.
Yeah.
I mean, he really accelerated through that hole.
And Kamar Bell and Vershawn Lee, the two offensive linemen that got to the second level and put at least a hand on somebody to altered enough so he could not get touched going into the end zone. He flew.
Welcome back into the postgame show. Jay and Elijah with you, 803-404-6100. Let's get into a little bit of sound from Coach Beamer here before we talk a little bit more about the what else is going on around college football. Let's have some fun. The cut number 8 to start things off here. This is Shane describing from his vantage point the game-winning touchdown.
We're fortunate that we had 3 timeouts, so we had some flexibility on that. Once we hit the pass to, who was that, Camp, that got us down there, I think, where we're in the red zone. We know we're in field goal range, but we're not playing for overtime. I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to ask me about some of the fourth down calls. We were aggressive tonight as well, but we weren't playing for overtime, but we also wanted to be smart. So Dow and I were talking on the headphones, and Dow said, hey, are you good if we try and pop a run in here? And I was like, heck yeah. I mean, we got time for plenty of plays right here because of our timeout situation. So we were going to call a run, and if we didn't get it, I was going to call timeout immediately. And I guess we did have a run before that, and I think I called the first one. We had 2 more. We were going to pop another one in there. It worked out the way we thought. And, and if we hadn't gotten that one, we would have called another timeout and taken one shot at the end zone and get to overtime. But if we didn't get it, but we liked our opportunities and chances there, and it's a great way to finish.
And again, the man did not go down, to borrow from Rocky.
Refused.
Yeah, it was impressive. I mean, that was a grown man play.
And Peter Schrager would have that on angry runs.
Yeah,
he should.
Yeah,
if he doesn't, he should. You'd have missed if he skipped that.
And I know in the immediate aftermath, there were a lot of Missouri fans that did nothing but blame the inability to tackle him. And I can appreciate that, I suppose. But where do we draw that line between, a man's will to just go get the job done relative to the defeat that the Mizzou guys felt, or, and their inability? I mean, sometimes dudes just don't go down. Listen, I remember as a little kid, I want to say, it might have even been, I think it was a game that Carolina played Florida State, Elijah, when the year George won the Heisman. It was a long time ago. But I just remembered that it seemed like there was a play down a sideline that has always stuck in my head, where there were like 6 people finally bringing George Rogers down on a play. And me remembering then, like as a 9-year-old or whatever, like, wow, that's pretty good.
He's hard to stop if it requires 6 minutes.
You think back when you're little, like, well, shouldn't one person be able to bring down one person, or at least like 2? And then 3 didn't help, and 4 didn't help. It's just, but that's what it felt like the other night. I mean, I'd love to know more of what the discussion was like. But I felt like I mean, I don't want to sound all hokey about it, okay? But once Rocket knows what that play is going to be, in his mind, is there only one outcome?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how he talked like on Saturday after the game. He talked like that was the only outcome, was that there's only one option in this bad boy, and that's for me to get this football and score it.
Yeah. In fact, let's do that real quick. Then I want to come back around to something Shane mentioned, but cut 24 on our list. Yeah, here's Rocket Sanders on that score.
Yeah, I started with the band. Nah, yeah, for sure. The Rocket Man thing, for sure that. But I didn't even feel that. I ain't gonna lie. I was in that mode. I was in that mode. So like I just told him, I was planning to score that, and that's what I did. So like I was in that mode, and feel like I didn't even feel Tree. I didn't even feel Tree at all.
He's also asked if he felt Tree fall on him in the end zone. It's giving that little extra push.
Just a little nudge. It was an impressive play. I have not had further verification. I am told it was something that did actually, I don't know how much, but like measure on a seismograph or something.
I did see that too. I saw the photo where it was like guess where the touchdown occurred.
Okay.
It certainly felt like there was seismic activity because the press box,
I love that kind of stuff.
You feel it a little bit.
Yeah, no, you can. I love that kind of stuff. That's quality. Shane Beamer, cut number 11, please, sir. Shane mentioned it. Yeah, and we've had some calls already today about the fourth down tries for South Carolina. Here's Shane explaining where his mind was.
Thing that we really talk about, for me, it was what I wanted to do. And we went for, we went for a few 4th and 1s, and we got some, and we got stuffed on one. That was one. If it had been 4th and 1, I probably would have punted it. It was like a foot. And I thought with a 240-pound quarterback, we could run a quarterback sneak and get that much. But I was wrong. Credit to them for stopping us on that one. We went for it. We had a play call. We ran it. We got stopped. And then I guess they stopped it to, we got to replay the play, right? And clicked over to Clayton because I always want to make sure he's good with it. And I said, "Are you good if we go with this?" And he had seen the play before, and he's like, "Yeah, but don't y'all have like a push or something you can do?" And I'm like, "You know what? You're right." So we were talking about a couple different options on that play, whether it was the quarterback sneak or another play. And in the end, I felt like the quarterback sneak was the best thing to do. And clearly I was wrong on that one, but that's what it was. But it's something that, during the week, I'm watching tape of everything, offense, defense, and special teams, where when you get into a game on Saturday, I'm not making, in my mind, uninformed decisions because I have a pretty good feel about the opposing team, if that makes sense. And I wanted to show confidence in our offense and our defense that we need to be the more physical team. Physicality was the number one key tonight for us, and particularly early in the game, that was an opportunity to show that.
And that last point, I think, is the one, Elijah, that we've really keyed on a lot, not just this game or even this season, but I think in Shane's tenure in Columbia. I need my players to know I believe in their ability to go do it more than anything else. We didn't see enough of that in the previous coaching administration, in my opinion. You're not always going to make those. And yes, it can really hurt when you don't. I've been waking up recently going, oh, man, my neck, my back, shoulders, I just can't quite get it going. Time for you to get going to see our good friends at the Joint Chiropractic Centers. Local owners Janet and Bob Keene been owning their businesses for a long time. Their goal, very simple, improve your overall health with affordable, convenient chiropractic care and maintain and prevent reoccurring problems. It really is that simple. You can be in and out quickly. You don't have to miss your lunch hour any major time at work. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, Saturdays 10 until 4. You never need insurance. You never need an appointment. It's that convenient. Where are they, you ask? I need to get in there. Harbison Boulevard, Forest Drive, Roberts Branch right off Killian, and Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. Convenient, affordable, maintain a healthy body, prevent reoccurring issues. Learn more at thejoint.com. And remember, you don't have to feel bad to feel better at The Joint.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways this afternoon. All of these are going to be here in Richland County, starting with the one on Cedar Creek Road at Monticello Road near Highway 215, another one on Clemson Road at I-20, another one on Clemson Road as well. This one's closer to Hard Scrabble Road, Farrow Road at Highway 555 at US 21 and Wilson Boulevard, Green Lawn Drive at Garner's Ferry Road, and lastly, an accident causing some minor traffic backup over on Highway 1 at Augusta Road and Brickyard Road.
Josh Simon and Michael Smith. Sellers out of the gun, working off the right hash mark. Going to roll to the right side, trying to get the back of the end zone to Smith. Caught! Touchdown! Touchdown, Carolina! Touchdown, Michael Smith. His first on the year. And it puts the Gamecocks up 27-22 against number 24, Missouri, with 5:04 to go in the ball game.
Another really nice play call from Dow Loggins there. An excellent execution. Lenoris really making that one happen. Smith was blanketed, man. I mean, he was covered. That was a good play. And they just made that one happen.
Looked very Lamar Jackson-esque. Yeah. The Ravens do that a lot. Just put a tight end in the corner of the end zone, roll the quarterback out, no passing option, or no running lane open up. Just throw it in the corner, roll, your guy can get it.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
It's a great throw.
Carolina did take the lead on that one, missed the 2-point try. And, of course, that lead didn't last all that long with Luther Burden's touchdown a few minutes later. And then, of course, Carolina won the ballgame. True story.
It happened. Can't confirm.
Saw it.
Was there.
Saw it. Final score, 34-30. We'll come back around to a lot of what's going on with Carolina. Let's get into a few other things that happened in college football. We'll certainly have a drive around the SEC with more of what's happening inside the conference. First, there is a little bit of breaking news today. Florida Atlantic has fired Tom Herman. They have not won a game in the American Conference this year. This is the end of his second season. That's crazy. 6-16 overall. 0-6 in the American this year. They've lost 5 in a row. FAU moving up from Conference USA to the AAC. I mean, I know that is technically up, but with the way teams are moving around, it almost feels a little more
lateral.
Well,
especially considering, you could have a chance to play in the playoff by winning your conference. And it's a lot easier to win the Conference USA college football.
That's true.
Not a lot of hooting going on.
I don't like the Kennesaw one. I don't like.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That one makes me irrationally angry.
Yeah.
That guy built the program from the ground up.
Give him a chance.
Made them a really good, legitimate FCS contender. You bring him into FBS, doing what I would not have thought when Kennesaw State made a football program. They started that football program. I was not expecting them to be FBS in 10 years. That would have been like an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
They surpassed the unrealistic expectation, and they win one game. Like almost every team that goes in the FBS does, will struggle immediately, and they fire him, and not even after a full complete season. Like, you even saw glimpses. I mean, they beat Liberty. They upset Liberty, the team that was favored to win that conference.
Right.
A team that was considered to be one of the best G5 teams in the country. You beat them. That's a huge win. Yeah, you've lost other games. You lost to an FCS Tennessee Martin team. Like, they haven't been very good, but it's so much harder to make that jump. It is difficult to make that jump. Don't let James Madison doing it off the bat fool you into thinking this was easy. And those idiots in charge at Kennesaw State thought it was going to be easy. And breaking news, it wasn't easy. And they fired a really good coach and a very well-respected person in the industry for it. Dumb. Just incredibly dumb.
I did see as well that I'm trying to find it. He apparently at their last game, he actually showed up and was like in their walk, like we have Gamecock walk here or what everybody has those, and that he went and like was hugging them and high fiving them and everything just to say like still love you boys and like well y'all can go do this.
A+ human being, man. How do you fire that guy?
Yeah, I don't know enough about their athletics director or whatever. Listen,
I know all I need to now.
Yeah, if you're a school in Georgia not named Georgia, then you're always looking up at trying to measure your program against that. That's foolish. The only one, obviously, that can even come close to attempting that is going to be Georgia Tech, and we see the last 20-year record of Georgia and Georgia Tech. It ain't good for Georgia Tech, and I just mean head-to-head, not to mention what they've done. So, yeah, I mean, how do you define expectations for a brand? This is one of the things that I have a problem with, too, when it comes to schools like that making this leap. I don't know that you need to. I know somewhere you've sat in a boardroom and you've said, hey, we can do this and we'll make more money and whatever else. And I understand, too. I'm not trying to sound hypocritical here because I understand money drives these engines. I get it. But you got to sometimes look at it a little bit more realistically. So if you have someone with a proven track, like who's going to go take that job now and say, oh, well, they'll be patient with me?
No.
Right? And what are you asking me to do again? Well, we're asking you to build a winner. What do you mean winner?
You want to go to a bowl game every
year? What are we talking about here?
Playoff?
I don't know. It seems like there was nothing else going on other than they weren't winning, but and I know not winning is a big deal, but there are reasons.
Not winning, but like in year one, where you're not even eligible for postseason play anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
not even eligible to make a bowl game because of the stupid rule the NCAA has in place that you can't just make a bowl game in year one or play any playoff or a postseason football in year one. Like you weren't going to anyway. Why? That's another thing that's just so perplexing about it. Like Kennesaw State could have run the table, got undefeated. They would not have been eligible to play in the college football playoff.
Right.
Or even play for the conference.
Well, we had this thing with James Madison last year, right? When they were basically going to like sue if they had to, then they ended up getting upset by did Liberty beat
Appalachian State
beat.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. But anyway, to come back around to it, as Elijah said, if your nickname is Owls, it's been a bad year for you. But the news today, Tom Herman fired. And I remember Elijah and I were talking off air here. South Carolina had heavy interest in Tom Herman.
When he's coming out of Houston?
Yeah. 8 years ago, I guess that is, 9 years ago. And it hadn't worked out for him since, man.
Nope.
Not in any meaningful way, anyways.
He won one Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
At Texas. Congrats, buddy.
Yeah. So, interesting. Again, the new AP poll is out. We'll have that for you coming up top of the hour. But the chaos scenario unfolding in the Southeastern Conference is very real. Georgia is 6-2, and they're done. So, borrowing from the golf analogy, they've now posted a score, and they're in the clubhouse. Texas and Texas A&M will, assuming they both win this weekend, which we need to be careful with that. I mean, Texas has Kentucky, and A&M is at Auburn, right?
Correct.
There's a chance there. I mean, Kentucky went to Ole Miss and won. Auburn's not very good.
Auburn does we're getting closer to Christmas. They love giving gifts.
Yes.
And that gift is usually coming in the form of a football.
That's right.
From offense to defense.
But they'll be playing an elimination game. It feels like we're trending, for some reason in my head, towards a Texas versus Alabama SEC championship. That's what it feels like.
Alabama would have the tiebreaker over everybody, I guess.
Something like that.
I have printed off all 22 pages.
Most notably over Georgia.
Of it.
They didn't play Mississippi this year, did they?
They did not.
Yeah. That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, during the break, I'm gonna go look at it, see what would happen, because like this in this scenario, right? Let's just say Texas beats A&M because they're the better team. What happens is assume Texas and Texas A&M take care of business against Kentucky and Auburn.
Yeah.
How many teams would that leave with 2 losses in conference play? I will do a little digging.
Yeah. We'll come back on the other side, step away from football. If there's a big event planned and then everything goes wrong with the internet, is this sort of like a tree falling in the woods thing? Does it make a noise? Can you actually watch it? Well, we'll explain and then realize that, yeah, it really wasn't that much of an event anyway. You probably know where we're headed. We'll discuss on the other side. Getting a little chilly out there, up, down. You know, we got that kind of weather this time of year, which means it's always nice to know that your heating and air system is ready to take care of you no matter what's going on. What if you have to shift from, you know, the heat one day to a couple of days later turning the AC back on? Well, Roy and Dana Finley and AAA Heating and Air ready to help you out. And if it's time for a brand new system, then listen, you still have time to take advantage of an amazing opportunity. 12 months, no payments or interest if you buy in 2024. Not till the end of the year, 12 months from when you buy it if you buy it in 2024. A $1,500 rebate, a 15-year parts and labor guarantee. And speaking of guarantees, they guarantee to get you financed to make it even more affordable. So whether it's a quick repair or a brand new system, anything in between, call my good friends at AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500, and tell them we sent you to AAA Heating and Air. Welcome back in. Final few minutes of our second hour coming up. Top of the five headlines of the day, including the brand new AP poll. Where did the Gamecocks land? We'll get into all of that for you. few other things going on around the sports world, too, including tonight's Monday night game, which might have been a good one a couple of weeks ago, not so much tonight. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. At least it'll be a night game. Jarrah won't have to worry about the curtains, which they did close, Elijah Campbell, for the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson event.
I guess that's more important than the Cowboys playing football.
I'm not going to really call it a fight. And let me give you all full disclosure. So my wife and I went to dinner Friday night, and we got back, and I knew, no fight is going to start, like whatever. So there was the undercard fight on, which was actually pretty good. And then they had the women's match, and, this dude, me, I was like, you know what, I can't. And then I knew it would be like 45 minutes in between the end of that. I was like, if this thing goes 12, the women's fight, and there's like 45 minutes, like I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. So I did go to bed. I guess I'm glad I did, because even though my stream was working fine, apparently Netflix had major technical issues once people really were starting to tune in all at once around, 11-ish?
When people thought the event was going to happen.
Yeah. And so a lot of people around the globe did not get to watch it, or it was like really bad quality. I got up, so I didn't check anything when I got up, but I get up early even on Saturdays. I got up about 7:30 on Saturday. And so it was really kind of surreal, man. But I was like, the first thing I did, I was like, I want to watch that fight now. So I immediately went to Netflix. So I'm still into bed. Like before I even went to let the dogs out. That's not a euphemism. I have to.
Not
a euphemism.
Yeah.
So because I knew it was a short fight.
The Baja men have to wait to find the culprit at a later date.
That's right. So I watched it, and it was terrible.
It wasn't a fight.
It was terrible.
The patty cake contest.
Well, it was a money grab, and thank God that it wasn't something that they made you pay like extra for pay-per-view wise. That it just came with your Netflix subscription. I mean, it was awful, and we were kind of having some fun with it on Friday during the show. You, me, our buddy Alan Cole was hanging out, and Langston was there. I don't know what Jake Paul. Like I said, what is Jake Paul? Not who is. What is Jake Paul? I don't know. I don't care, right? He's not a boxer.
No.
He might do some fighting, but he's not a boxer. And Mike Tyson's 58 years old, man. I mean, again, Mike Tyson's rise to prominence happened while I was in high school, and I'm 54. Okay?
Only 4 years younger than Mike Tyson.
I'm glad that nothing bad happened. But Jake Paul, I will give him credit. He's big. If he had really landed something hard, even against, our guy Mike Tyson, he's going to hurt Mike. And we don't need that.
Mike's old. He's older.
I mean, 58. I mean, how old? Remind me. I can't remember now because I thought he was old when he did it. But I remember when Foreman won again, man, and George was like 40 or something, for whatever he was. But he wasn't 58. It didn't need to happen. But on top of that, the bigger story isn't so much, the lack of anything in that, again, event. It's Netflix. And Netflix is obviously a behemoth with what it does, but apparently, I didn't know this. Elijah reminded me what it was, or he knew what it was. Not that you watched it, but apparently they had some like Bachelor type show that was supposed to be live a few months ago that also failed miserably. If y'all don't recall, Netflix won a bidding opportunity to show 2 NFL games on Christmas Day. And it's not just any old – it isn't like they're getting, I don't know, man, Browns Cardinals.
Browns Jags.
It's the Jets and the, Bears. Like you wouldn't believe. No. They're getting – game 1 is Kansas City versus Pittsburgh.
Yeah, those two teams are pretty good. They have combined 3 losses.
Well, just pretty good, but they're also, massive brands. And then game 2 is the Ravens and the Texans. And while the Texans are still emerging with C.J. Stroud, Lamar Jackson is a bona fide megastar.
2-time MVP.
2 times. You better have that right, Netflix.
Oh, the Shield would not act kindly to any type of mess up there.
But, so, again, old dude me didn't stay up to watch old dude Mike, but I did watch it first thing, so I didn't check my phone. I didn't think he was going to do anything with it. But, man, that was terrible.
Did not watch closely. It was on in the background. The Airbnb my friend stayed at. I glanced over occasionally. It was nothing.
It was terrible.
I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, but, Netflix, get it right, because people will be looking at you on Christmas. All right, hour 3 coming up.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways. We'll start with, actually, all of these are going to be in Richland County, nothing in Lexington County, it looks like. We'll start with one on Cedar Creek Road at Monticello Road near Highway 215. We got a pair of accidents causing some traffic backups on Clemson Road, one at I-20 and the other one at Hard Scrabble Road. Got an accident on Faro Road at Highway 555 at US 21 and Wilson Boulevard, one on Green Lawn Drive at Garner's Ferry Road, one on Highway 1 at Augusta Road at Brickyard Road, one on 26 westbound at Broad River Road near Exit 97. That one's occurred here in the last 30 minutes or so. And lastly, near Spring Valley High School, we have an accident on Sparkleberry Lane near Grace's Way.
And it is 5 o'clock news time on this Monday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the Postgame Show alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. We've been talking a lot of Carolina, Missouri. The Gamecocks beating the Tigers 34-30. South Carolina concludes conference play with a 5-3 record. Shane Beamer's club runs its record now to 7-3 overall. And obviously a thrilling comeback in this one. Carolina in full control at halftime. Only one touchdown in the third quarter. That was by Missouri. But then Mizzou scored again, took the lead. Gamecocks got it back with about 5 minutes to play. Then a beautiful fourth down play. Brady Cook to Luther Burden puts Mizzou back on top. They get the 2-point try. And then South Carolina got it done with a brilliantly led drive down the field. Lenoris Sellers just calm all day long. Lenoris is the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. And, of course, the little shovel pass to Rocket Sanders for the score. And as we talked about a bunch, Rocket was not going down. Once that play call was there, he's like, well, guess I got to go score a touchdown.
I'm getting the ball, might as well score. He did.
Lenoris finishes the day through the air, 21 of 30, 353 yards, 5 scores, 1 pick. He also ran the ball 14 times for 45 yards. Just a fantastic day. And I asked earlier, Elijah, and we've talked about it a little bit and heard from some of the folks in the audience, was it Lenoris's, the words I used, coming out party? And like I say, I don't know that it is or isn't. He's had some really big games already in his young career. Remember, he's only a redshirt freshman, but this one felt different, if for no other reason than where these last few games, Carolina's been in thorough control because of what they've done on both sides of the ball. This time they were not. Missouri, I wouldn't say control. Well, Missouri wrested control from South Carolina for a bit and really did have momentum going their way. But because of the nature of the win and what needed to happen late with both of those touchdown drives, I think this one's just different in a good way for Lenoris Sellers, and it certainly captured the attention of a lot of folks. And again, the SEC Offensive Player of the Week.
Oh, yeah. And while usually I reserve the coming out party as, a game in which somebody who normally doesn't display those type of traits, pulling them out, and showing that they're doing something they don't normally do. I think this is more of the Lenoris showed you he can take over a game and win it for you.
Right.
That if all else fails, you can call on 16 to win you a football game. Because if you look at the success of the last few weeks specifically, just within this win streak, after the Alabama game, I think, to me, the Alabama game was where I first saw him and said, okay, I really see the glimpses, right? I really see what this ceiling can possibly be. You just got to cut out the turnovers, and you just got to make some of the layups, like in that 2-point conversion we talked about ad nauseum for that week. But you saw what the ceiling could be. In these last couple of weeks, he's never really had to be that 353-yard, 5-touchdown guy because the defense was incredibly dominant and the run game was at its peak, right, in the A&M and Vanderbilt wins. But on Saturday night, The running game, you're only picking up about 3 yards a pop. You're 0 for 7 on power rushing attempts with third or fourth down.
Yeah.
You missed out on a lot of opportunities. Missouri took away your run game.
Mm-hmm.
Your defense gave up 30 points. Plan A and Plan B were not going to win you that game. You had to rely on the arm of Lenora Sellers to win you that game. And he did it in spectacular fashion. And the arm and the legs, because let's not forget, he only ran for about 45 yards on 14 or so carries. It was his breaking tackle of Johnny Walker, which should have been like a 7-yard sack.
Yep.
Where most people that have Johnny Walker putting all of his pressure on their back usually are planted into the ground and rise back up as flowers. But he breaks the tackle, finds Brady Hunt, extends the drive, gets the touchdown to at least get you up above Missouri before they went back and matched it with a score. But if you don't have that on third down, you don't have that score, and who knows what happens after that game. So it wasn't just the arms, but it's the leg and the tackle breaking ability too. I think this is the game where you learned Lenora Sellers, number 16 in your program, number 1 in your heart, can win you a football game.
Yeah, it still baffles me, actually, going back to that Bama game, how many people were really riding him hard that day for the, and I get it. I mean, that's a bad fumble, but man, you saw him turn a corner that afternoon as well, and we've only seen him progress down that road that much better. Here's Shane Beamer in postgame on what Elijah was just alluding to, Lenora's ability to escape the pressure.
Why is he getting hit in the backfield? First of all. 2 is what a dude he is. I mean, I don't like him getting hit in the backfield and defenders bouncing off of him, but I think I told you the story that after our game against A&M, another SEC head coach texted me, and you've got bleeping Superman playing quarterback back there, and that's kind of what he is as well. But just credit to him. Very similar to the play at Vanderbilt last week where we hit, who was that, JB down the sideline, where he came out of there and scrambled left and kept his eyes downfield and was able to make a play, and just a lot of emotions, but that guy's he's just a player. He
is just, yeah. And again,
a damn good one.
Yeah. I mean, he ain't bumping his head on that ceiling yet either. That's just it.
The ceiling is the roof.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that's what some are saying. Some, I mean, Michael.
Speaking of breaking through a ceiling, South Carolina finally, it seemed like they'd never beaten Missouri. They have. It's just been a long time.
I was still in college.
And Shane Beamer had not yet done it as South Carolina's head coach. Here's what the win meant to him in that respect.
It was just an emotional, I mean, anytime a team beats you 5 years in a row, 3 years in a row since I've been the head coach as well, it has extra meaning, and this one did as well, just because our seniors didn't want to finish their career here at South Carolina, never have beaten Missouri, so that it meant a lot to all of them as well. In between, I think it was a lot of guys, I'll be honest, Lulu, that between the touchdown and the end of the game that, came up to me or hugged me, or, I remember O'Donnell, David Spalding. I mean, there was just a lot of guys like that it was a lot of really cool moments from tonight. There's no question about it. But we have Steve said it coming down the hall. We haven't had a game like that here in Columbia in a while. And I've been hearing for years all about the rain game here from whenever Michael Scarnecchia rain game. So shout out to Mike, but hopefully this has now trumped that as far as memorable South Carolina Missouri games.
And I would say it has. Elijah, you and I talked about that very thing this morning when we were doing our show meeting, and that monsoon game, again, I'll never forget that. Drew Lock, just fell apart in the rain. And Scarnecchia, who wasn't supposed to play, comes in and is just absolutely brilliant in leading Carolina to a late game win. Still bothers me, by the way, in that one that Michael wasn't given a curtain call later in the season when they had a rescheduled game with Akron. Just even one, just like a little thank you. I don't know if it slipped the head coach's time back then. That was the other head coach, not the current one.
The last guy.
But anyway, that was pretty cool. But this one was a lot of fun. Not so fun for the opposing head coach. Here's Eli Drinkwitz on what he thinks was the biggest obstacle for his club.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that's the difference in the game. In the first half, we had the fourth down stop, and we had the turnover, and didn't get any points off the turnover with the missed field goal when it ran out right there in the sack. Our inability to convert third downs in the red zone in the first half was why we were behind, and ultimately the difference in the score. Any of those are touchdowns, it's a different game.
Accurate. Again, you can't do it in a vacuum, but it certainly alters the course of the ball game. I'll give them that. But for Missouri to come out and set the tone with the quick field goal, hey, at least we scored. Carolina comes right back down, answers brilliantly.
They scored on 6 drives.
They did, man. I mean, listen, I've mentioned it a bunch today. I thought you kind of had it backed up, but I thought Missouri. And I've watched a lot of Missouri this year. I thought it was their best game of the season. And again, we mentioned Josh Pate, CBS Sports, and Josh has his YouTube show 3 times a week. He called it Missouri's best game of the season, and they lost, which does prove sometimes you can play well and lose. And Missouri did play well, and they lost because South Carolina ultimately had the opportunities and then made the plays necessary to win the football game.
I mean, Brady Cook played with 2 injuries, probably wasn't even supposed to play, and might have had his best game of the season. I mean, the touchdown pass to Luther Burden was a dot.
It's a beauty.
That you could not have put that in a better spot because Kilgore, it wasn't like he was, Burden beat Kilgore to the point where he was, to use the words, the South Carolina wide receiving and tight end room, running butt naked down the sidelines. Right. No, he was relatively well covered. That ball just gets planted into the left arm of Luther Burden, which is, I didn't realize it was a one-handed catch till rewatching it again today. I mean, he caught that with one hand.
Yeah.
And the only way.
And then the stutter step.
The only person who was catching that football was Luther Burden. And Brady Cook had that pocket collapse on him when he made that throw, too. I mean,
yes.
Missouri made some plays in that game. I mean, it's wild to see a team that has underachieved so much this year in terms of how they're supposed to look, given how they looked last year. Look like how they were supposed to look offensively in that game. That's how they were supposed to be all year long. They just haven't been that.
I know it's not likely true, but the way they played Missouri just once again says to me how much more they seem to put into beating South Carolina, to playing South Carolina.
Well, especially when you're on the receiving end of those losses for 5 straight years.
But again, think about it. I mean, they've played some big name clubs this year, and they look like crap against Auburn. They really did. They
should not have won that game. They won that game on accident.
They look like crap against Oklahoma. They're longtime conference nemesis from the old Big 8, Big 12 days. And yet they come to Columbia, South Carolina and act like they're, the pro team in Missouri.
They just flipped the switch, and now they're the 2023 Missouri team all over again.
It's crazy. But the Gamecocks get it done. Again, the Carolina team, done with conference play at 5-3. And now you just wait for things to shake out. The new poll is out. Oregon is the number 1 team in the country. They remain a unanimous number 1. Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Indiana 5. That top 5 did not change from last week. Notre Dame is number 6, Alabama 7, Georgia 8, Ole Miss 9, and Tennessee drops 4 spots to number 10. Georgia, of course, beating UT in Athens on Saturday. Miami, Boise, SMU 11, 12, 13. BYU upset by Kansas. They drop down to 14th. That's a 7-spot drop for the Cougars. A&M holds steady at number 15. Colorado is 16. Clemson 17. Clemson's spot did not change. Army down 2 spots to 18. Carolina is up to number 19. So inside the top 20 are Shane Beamer's club. Tulane is 20th. Then Arizona State, who is maybe one of the bigger surprises all of a sudden in the whole season, is 21. Iowa State 22. UNLV 23, Illinois at 7-3, 24, and Washington State lost for the second time this year. They dropped 6 spots, but they are still in the top 25, bringing up the final spot. All right, lots more to do from Shane, from the players, and full bank of phone calls as the postgame show rolls on.
They're working off the left hash mark. 2nd down and 3. 22 seconds remaining. 2 timeouts. Blitz by Missouri. Shuffle pass inside. Sanders inside the 10. 5. Rocket going for it. Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Rocket Sanders. From 15 yards out. The game time.
Whoa! Yeah!
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, hell no, we just scored.
Oh my gosh, shuffle pass.
Woo!
Listen to this crowd.
You know, the remarkable thing of that play, at least the play call, is on radio even, and I know where there have been in that booth many, many, many times, how loud that place got. That was cool, man. I just don't know what else to say. I'm gonna say I don't want to overthink it. That was a dude making a play.
I mean, even in the press box, which is pretty well sound insulated for the most part. There were a couple times this year, like even the A&M game where they'd be really loud, and I didn't realize how loud it was till I went back and watched it on TV.
Yeah.
But in that moment, that Rocket Sanders touchdown, I mean, it felt like the place was moving a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it was adequately loud, even in the press box. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to see, man. That place erupted.
And that's like the harshest language I've ever heard T. Suggs use.
That's how big the moment was. That's how surprising the play was.
Oh, good stuff from Todd and Tommy on that one. Gamecocks 34-30 winners over Missouri. Let's jump back into y'all's reaction. Appreciate the patience on a busy day as well. David is up next. Hey, David.
Hey, Jay. Hey, Elijah. How are y'all today?
Good.
What's up, David?
What's up?
So I'm not going to lie. I was one of those fans where the PTSD kicked in whenever Missouri scored right there towards the end.
Sure.
And was thinking, oh, no, there's no way we're going to do this again. But watching that last drive, and I want y'all's opinion, and I don't know if y'all have alluded to this or not. I've been kind of listening in and out throughout the day. Was that the kind of drive that kind of let you know that this offense can do what it needs to do now and that you don't have to solely rely on the defense? Obviously, I know it's one game, but the fact that you see that there against a team you haven't beat in, 6 years?
Yep.
That's got to do something in that column, right? I'll hang up and listen, guys.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. And, again, Elijah and I, not that we're disagreeing with one another, I think we've come at the offense from a little bit of a different angle today, he and I. I mentioned earlier, was this Lenoris's coming out party? It isn't like he's just been announced to the world. He had even in a loss, he had a good game at Alabama. He was playing well before getting hurt against Louisiana State. He was solid and, didn't need to do a whole lot against Oklahoma. He was terrific against A&M and Vanderbilt. And then this week with Missouri, not dictating play because they weren't. This was a great back-and-forth college football game. But your point, Elijah, was maybe not coming out party, but instead, and I'll let you finish the thought.
Instead, it's the I can win you a football game on my back party. That Lenora Sellers, as a quarterback in the SEC, has the capability of pulling his team out and stealing them from the clutches of defeat, right? Because it seemingly they were there. Again, I mentioned this in the first hour, so if you missed it, I gave Jay this hypothetical of if I went into the past, I'm time traveling here, and I wake Jay up and I shake him up out of his sleep and say, Jay Phillips, it's your boy, but I'm from the future, okay? A real Elijah's sleeping right now, but I'm from the future. I just want to give you 2 anecdotes about this game tonight. Missouri's going to score 30 points. The offense won't have the running game going. They only rush for 3 yards a carry. Rocket doesn't get 100 yards, and you're 0 for 7 on power rushing attempts to try to move the chains. And then I let you go, and I'm like, what do you think happens? Yeah. You would say that you're probably going to lose that game.
South Carolina's not going to win.
And then I say, all right, we'll reconvene in 48 hours.
Yeah.
And I disappear off back into the present. And but the one thing that future me wouldn't have accounted for and wouldn't have told Jay Phillips, I left out a minor detail, is that he throws for 353 and 5 touchdowns, including the 2 game-winning drives. The first go-ahead drive, and then engineered the second final game-winning drive. Was in total control. was at absolute and total control, and he won you a game with his arm in a game in which Plan A goes away with your running game not being successful. Plan B goes away, winning a game with field position and defense goes away because Missouri puts up 30 points. And they finally start playing on offense like they were supposed to have played all season. But Plan C was Lenoris save us, and Lenoris saved them in that football game. He proved that Plan A and Plan B can go out the window, and you can still call up on number 16 to win you the game, which is a sign of a really good football team too, not just a really good quarterback, but a really good football team and a really good win when things aren't going your way the way you normally have them go when you win football games and you still win them. It's an incredible sign.
Yeah. So, David, good question. The answer is yes. It does show you something different. And listen, you still have a chance to win 10 games this year. It's not going to be easy. But you do have an opportunity to win 10 football games this year and really begin to set yourself up in terms of both high school and portal recruiting to show those folks, all right, there's a complete program. There's a good leader, both as a coach and an on-field presence, and things can be better there. And some of the things that may have plagued you early in the season, you'd like to think won't be there next year. Now, listen, it's never easy, and you still have LSU and Alabama and Mississippi next year, and Oklahoma and A&M.
It'll be hard next year, too.
And Missouri in their place. Nothing's easy. Nothing's easy. But
you proved with the schedule this year that you can be this competitive.
Yeah, you can. You have. Thank you for the phone call. We got time for John here. You want to do it? Let's see what John has to say here. Cowboys play tonight, so he hadn't had a bad weekend fully yet, but he had a good weekend Saturday. Hello, sir.
Fellas, I don't know exactly what you say about that, but I know I've never seen – I've been going to Carolina games for a long time. I've seen game drives where you have to put something together to get a late winning field goal, but I've never seen anything like that. And yes, Lenoris Sellers, I would say, had his most complete game of the season the other day. I think that he wasn't just getting balls to open guys, he was dropping dimes. I mean, the ball he threw to the two he threw to Nick Harbor were absolutely perfectly thrown. The way he read the field, he has become so much of a much better quarterback now than he was in the Old Dominion game. It's night and day. But I want to make sure we give a call to the guys who are kind of the unsung heroes of the other night. I mentioned one of them, Nick Harbor, Galvon Campbell. With those two catches he made, I would say those are just coming out of nowhere plays that you kind of become one of the true unsung heroes of that night. Jared Brown had two catches, including that screen pass he took for a touchdown. Mazio Bennett had 5 catches. Trying to think who else. Brady Hunt had that crucial catch to get a first down going on the play.
His extra effort, John. Don't forget, that was a beauty pass, but Brady's extra effort for that first down too.
Yes, and it's a shame that he's gone for the season now. But at the same time, next man step up. And, that was the great thing about the other night, Jay, is that the wide receivers finally started to come into their own. It wasn't just Lenoris, Joshua, and Rocket. Everybody kind of got their hands involved, and that's what you want to see more of, especially late in the year now. And Carolina, I think, may have finally found something and found a rhythm that they can use in these last 2 regular season games. Obviously, you've got an opportunity to get a little bit more continuity going. You don't want to overlook Wofford because Wofford certainly put a scare into us a couple of years ago, if you remember that game in 2006. But if all goes to plan, you would like to think everybody gets right, gets on the same page with each other, and, has a confidence boost going into that season finale, which, as we learned, is somehow at noon, and yet Florida and Florida State are going to be in prime time. Somebody make it make sense to me, please. But anyway, nevertheless, great win. You love what Lenoris Sellers and Rocket Sanders are doing, and hopefully the defense gets themselves right because these next 2 programs do know how to run the football the way Missouri does.
Oh, no question, man. Good phone call as always. Good luck tonight. John's a Cowboy fan, as I said. So Mrs. Phillips is too.
I don't know if he needs luck, rather divine intervention.
I think Cowboy fans are ready to throw in the towel and try to get a better draft pick at this point in time. No, listen, don't let anything, don't mess around this weekend. Yes, Wofford a couple of times has my biggest Wofford memory, if you will. God, I'll be really careful saying. I'll just say it. 2012 when Connor got hurt. Like, this is why I hate these games. Mm-hmm. I almost just put the whole B team out there.
Avoid injury at all costs.
Like why? Man, Lenoris weighs 320 pounds. No, he's in bubble wrap, literally.
Why does Lenoris look like the Michelin Man?
More on the Gamecocks, plus a drive around the SEC and your phone calls, 803-404-6100. It's the Postgame Show. Hey, getting a new set of wheels this holiday season for you, the family, maybe a gift for that very special someone in your life, whoever they may be. Well, no better place than Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union to finance that next vehicle. They offer great low rates on new to 21 models, great options for some older vehicles as well. Many plans come with no payments for up to 90 days. Plus, if you're getting a new vehicle, they can finance over 100% of the retail or purchase price. And Palmetto Citizens offers additional coverage and insurance options that dealerships simply do not have and cannot beat. So, wherever you might find a car all around the Midlands, go take that shopping trip, find the set of wheels that you want. Then, wherever you are in the Midlands, stop by the nearest Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union branch. They got 14 of them all across the Midlands, or you can apply online right now at palmettocitizens.org. My wife and I and our members, we love them. Think you will too. Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways this afternoon. All of these are going to be in Richland County, starting with one on Highway 1 at Augusta Road at Brickyard Road. Got one on I-20 eastbound. Looks like that's going to be over near Clemson Road near exit 80. Got one on 26 westbound closer to Broad River Road and exit 97. Another accident on Killian Road at Highway 555 at Farrow Road. Going out to the Irmo area, we have an accident on Likes Lane near Riverwalk Way. And lastly, one near Spring Valley High School at Sparkleberry Lane near Grace's Way. It's causing some minor traffic backup.
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what they look for. I really don't know what they look for anymore. So I would welcome anybody in that community to come down to this league and play in this environment. So it's a tough place to play.
Kirby Smart being asked about what the win does for the college football playoff chances of the Bulldogs, and that's what he said. I don't know. He's on to something a little bit there. Elijah doesn't agree.
No.
Do they measure
what, Kirby? You do not lose 2 games, dummy. That's what.
There's
acting like he's some victim. I don't know what they look for. You lost 2 games, pal.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. A lot of people are going to lose 2 games, so that's going to be the harder part.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's going to be the harder part. They do like you to win, but like if Indiana loses this weekend. By the way, hi, welcome back in. It's the Drive Around the SEC postgame show. Jay and Elijah with you here. We'll get back into some calls in just a second. Georgia wins in the end comfortably. After spotting Tennessee 10 points in the first quarter, Georgia scores 31-7 the rest of the way. And Tennessee did not score in the second half. So
hard to win if you don't score in the second half.
Yeah, Georgia did what they needed to do. Beck was finally back to being a high-level quarterback. Tennessee had been struggling to score points in conference games anyway, by and large, and that didn't really change. Nico was good, but he wasn't great. Samson did have his night, but it's almost as if Georgia said, we'll let him get some of his, and there's not much else to worry about. Georgia didn't run the ball that well. They're not going to either. That's just it,
This ain't the last 3 years, Georgia teams.
Well, this ain't the last 3 decades. This isn't the last century, Elijah. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, this is Georgia runs, and Georgia this year just can't run, at least not very well. But they got it done defensively more than anything else. And, again, kept Tennessee at bay. Florida beats LSU. Something is, as we said earlier, something is going on with the LSU program. Not sure what it is, but if y'all haven't seen the video yet, there's a couple of clips that are making the rounds this weekend. One is of Brian Kelly getting into one of his players' faces, and another is one of his players getting into his. And on that one, Kelly seems not like frightened or anything, right? But genuinely caught off guard that as he is jawing, Kelly, that someone would have the audacity to jaw back. But that's what happened. And I think Kelly did not know what to do at that point. And then, unfortunately, the camera that was catching that moment, I guess the director said, yeah, we better pull away from that. Although I was like, why?
Boo,
Like,
keep it on
yeah,
there.
like
Keep it
that's
on there.
that's what we're here for, the story, the drama. College coach beaten up by player for running mouth too much. But
he gave the business to Chris Hilton earlier in that game, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be a professional lip reader to understand the F-bombs thrown at Chris Hilton's direction.
But Florida just thoroughly in control, especially late in that ball game, outscoring LSU 14-3 in the fourth quarter. 27-16 was the final score. So now Florida has Ole Miss this weekend. Don't think they'll win that one. And then they go to Tallahassee. Certainly a much better chance to win that one and get Billy Napier's team into a bowl game. Now, like a lot of places, just a bowl game isn't enough, but considering that Florida looked like it was headed toward a 3, maybe 4-win season to get to 6, they have been trending in the right direction. And whether it's Graham Mertz getting hurt and having to turn full control of the offense over to DJ Lagway, I don't know. Again, Florida's just too talented to keep losing the way they were. There's too many good players down there. So something is still not clicking, but you're not buying Billy out, and you have seen some positivity of late. So, I suppose the right decision has been made. And listen, if it's another bad start, though, in September of 2025, then the patience may completely wear out. But for now, that's a nice win for Florida. It's a terrible loss for LSU, now completely done in terms of anything with the playoff, and they were probably on the outside looking in anyway. The only other conference game of the weekend was Texas going to Arkansas. Very ugly, old-school game. Texas never really had any threat against them, though. They were up 10-0 at halftime, and they won the ball game 20-10. It was just kind of there.
Wasn't exciting or anything like that, but, I mean, a fundamental win, I guess.
Other than that, the only games played were some throwaway games. Bama over Mercer 52-7. A&M over Mexico State 38-3. Auburn beat Monroe 48-14. Kentucky beat Murray State 48-6. So nothing else close in SEC play. Let's get back on the phones. Hear from you guys. Scott is up next. Hey, Scott.
Hey, y'all. My prediction on y'all's text line was 34-17. I didn't think we would let them score as much as we did, but I guess I didn't take Brady Cook into consideration. I would have gave them a little bit more on that, but I was proud that I hit 34 with the Gamecocks. I
picked 34-23, so we were probably in the same boat. So, yeah, we both hit the 34, which was something. But, I didn't see them. I thought they might do a little bit more, Scott, just because Eli would scheme it up, but still had a comfortable win. It wasn't quite as comfortable.
We ought to make a prize for anybody that hits the score, if anybody ever hits the score on the head, because that very seldom that ever done that. But anyway, I think our tight end, increased usage of the tight ends has helped our offense dramatically. It's changed our whole game. I think it's helped us run more. I like how, like y'all were talking earlier, spreading the ball around to so many different receivers. But one of the best plays, and I think one of the best play calls of the whole season, was the touchdown before Rocket Sanders' miraculous touchdown. They finally called the designed rollout play for Sellers, and he rolled out to the right and threw a touchdown in the end zone. It's one of the best play calls of the season. It was very important at that time. We needed to go ahead and score quick there. We didn't need to run the ball 2 or 3 times and run clock out. He went on and did the play, and we scored quick. And that was a very important play. One of the best, in my opinion, the best play calls of the season. I want to see more of that. I would like to see him get Sellers out, design, roll out, and he's going to have 3 or 4 receivers out there. We can beat all these teams. We can be a national champion if we use what we got.
Well, I don't disagree. And thanks as always for the phone call. I don't disagree in theory, and I think one of the things that they're doing is expanding his playbook. And I like, despite the fact that there are times when fans will get frustrated. Can we go back to the Alabama game and how much? I don't care, and I know most of you certainly felt the way I did. But I remember hearing from a guy. I think his name was Jason. how awful it was and how bad Lenoris was that day, and they'd be all mad. I'm like, dude, don't be mad at a guy going to Bryant-Denny and playing well but making some freshman mistakes. It's silly to think that he's going to turn into Brett Favre that day or something. You gotta put some realism into it. I think his name was Jason, and if it wasn't, I apologize. But anyway, but that dude was like, I was like, whoa, easy, Tex, easy.
He still played well in that game?
Yeah, he did. But the point is, and to Scott's point, but I like that Shane and Dowell are being patient. This is a young player that has a lot on him. When you are a quarterback in this league and you are anointed, if you will, a starting quarterback as a freshman, be it true or redshirt, it comes with great responsibility. You could be a transfer junior like Spencer Rattler was. It comes with enormous responsibility. But they're doing it the right way. And so slowly but surely they are adding things to what he can do. And that rollout is designed to have some people out on the perimeter, making sure they're doing their job too. It was a terrific play call, and it was terrifically executed too, Scott. So we agree with you on that one. We'll see more of it, I'm sure of that. We'll wrap it up on the other side. You're looking for a reliable propane provider? Choose Palmetto Propane, your complete solution for homes and businesses. More than 65 years of experience, Palmetto Propane provides exceptional service that you can always count on. From Rinnai tankless water heaters to commercial fuel services to run your business, Palmetto Propane always delivers. Let them create a customized solution that works for you. You can go to palmettopropane.com to learn more. And for those of you in the residential side of things, maybe it's time for a brand new fireplace. Maybe you're looking for something outdoors, fire features, lanterns, heating elements, and so much more. They got all that for you at Palmetto Propane. Stop in real soon to a Palmetto Propane Hearth and Patio home store. Batesburg, West Columbia, Lexington, Aiken, across the river in Augusta. You can see, feel what these things will be like at your house, and they'll keep you nice and comfortable for years to come. Grills and accessories, so much more. That's our great friends at Palmetto Propane. Welcome back in. Final few minutes of the postgame show here on this Tuesday afternoon. Don't forget, tomorrow it's Brews Day. Ryan Brewer in the house in the 3 o'clock hour. Shane Beamer press conference ahead of the Wofford game. We'll have that for you. I say apologies. I mean, we've been so busy, but we haven't talked anything else around Gamecock land this weekend. Don Staley's team won comfortably yesterday over East Carolina, 95-44. Same school, different sport, same type of result. Shelley Smith's team beat East Carolina 4-0 in the opening round of the women's NCAA tournament over at the Graveyard. That was Friday night. They'll be in action up in Chapel Hill in round 2. Not against North Carolina. I had it written down, Elijah, and now I don't. I didn't write it on my notes. I'll find it for you in just a second. But they play again on Friday afternoon. And Lamont Paris's team really never really in it. I followed along as best I could on Saturday. Final score 87-71 in Bloomington. Again, a nice opportunity. Not to say you wasted it, but it would have been a nice. And look, Indiana's good. They're inside the top 20 right now, whatever it's worth in mid-November. But
they'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
After watching them, I felt like they.
I know you watched the replay today, so
yeah. I mean, look, maybe you're in it a little better if Colin Murray Boyles doesn't foul out in 19 minutes and only contributes 2 points. I think that hurts you a ton. You saw some good. I thought.
Could you tell if Indiana? Because I saw that and I was like, well, that's not But did Indiana seemingly was that part of their game plan, you think, to really go after him and force him into bad situations, or was it just a bad day?
I think it's just a bad day, too. Yeah. I mean, Omar Ballo's a tough big to play against, and that's a team with a lot of great size. And teams that have Indiana-esque size or close to it, will look at that tape and say, let's keep them from opening it up. I mean, they shot really well in the first half, but at the end of the day, as well as they shot in the first half, it kept them in it. They didn't shoot necessarily well enough the rest of the game. First half, they made a ton of threes, but they shot 27% for the game, and I think a troubling trend for Carolina right now was that for the season, they're shooting 29% from three. It's pretty bad. And in that game, they shot almost half their shots from three. Miles Studi and Morris Ugasuk shot them into the game, and then they shot themselves out.
Morris had 18 points.
Morris played well.
He played well.
Yeah. Morris played really, really well. His shooting's really coming along. He's over 50+% on the season.
I hope that's something for them. We've talked about him a few times. I remember even when you and I sat with Derek Scott over at the arena, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we asked about Morris because last year, look, some of it was by default because Colin was sick at the beginning of the season, but Morris was given, as a kid who reclassified, was given significant first-half minutes last year. And that tells me there was enough confidence in him to put him in those situations, that they like what he's going to be able to offer once he grows literally and figuratively into what he's doing here in the United States. So I think that's a positive sign. I don't know, what's going to – I don't want to say like trigger them into maybe hitting another level. They've got some pretty good games still in non-con that will go a long way towards defining what they might look like in SEC play. But again, the SEC's never been deeper, so they're going to have to find a way. And they're not catching anyone by surprise this time around. And I wonder how much of a factor that is for Lamont's team. That there's no who.
Especially like someone like Colin, right?
Yeah.
Where because he was sick at the beginning of the year, he didn't really get acclimated until he got into conference play. When you really started seeing what his ceiling really is, I think that caught a lot of people by surprise. But now is the time where you're going to have to figure something out offensively, because going under a point per possession in a game like that's not going to get it done.
No.
And I think defensively they could have been better, but still they're top 65 Ken Palm defense. So some of the metrics do suggest that defensively this is pretty sustainable. Especially on the field goal percentage. Teams haven't been shooting particularly well against them. They'll keep you in a lot of games, but there are some things that need to be fixed. They're not a finished product. It is November, but man, you got to take advantage of either Xavier, Virginia Tech, or Michigan, whoever you play. Unfortunately, Boston College isn't very good at all, so a win even at Boston College on a road, which all road games are hard, but even a true road game at Boston College isn't going to do much for your resume because they're, again, not very good. Just for For instance, East Carolina, the team you play next that Saturday, is ranked higher in KenPom than Boston College.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to win. You're going to have to beat Clemson. That would be a really good resume builder right there. But so the opportunities are still there. There's a lot of things that still need to be fixed with this basketball team in terms of how they're going to be able to generate their shots.
Again, Carolina, let's see, Thursday night has Mercer. Monday they have Xavier. Then Tuesday they'll play, that's a week from tomorrow, either Michigan or Virginia Tech, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then Boston College a week later, East Carolina, Upstate, Clemson, Radford, PC. That's how the non-conference schedule shakes out. So some good opportunities, but you need to take advantage of said opportunities. Good stuff today. I appreciate all the interaction. Thrilling win for South Carolina. Tomorrow night, we find out the CFP ranking inside the top 20 in the AP. Where will they be when those that matter now start to do the voting? We'll find that out for you. And again, Ryan Brewer on tomorrow's show as well. For Elijah Campbell, I'm Jay Phillips. Have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.
So much going on in the sports world right now. We got a football game going on tonight, a big pro football matchup. I'm not going to call it a monster game. It's not a monster game, but you can make it one with our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. It is my favorite daily fantasy sports app, and it's not just football, right? It's basketball. It's hockey. I've been all over playing goalie saves, more or less for goalie saves throughout the year, because, look, early in the hockey season, sometimes offenses are ahead of the defense, and sometimes they're not getting a ton of shots still, but they're really efficient. That's been my moneymaker all year long. Can't be for you, too, because the payouts are really quick, up to about 15 minutes for myself. They also have injury insurance. There's flex play, a lot of different modes that some of the other apps just don't have. So download Prize Picks today. Use promo code 1075GAME or 1075GAME and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.